A million expectations ringing in my ear, telling me who
A situation with another part of the Bible that just jumped out at me was from Acts. And it just says this: when they heard this, they were furious. This is in chapter 7, starting in verse 54. And it says, when they heard this, they were furious and gnashed their teeth at him. But Stephen, full of the Holy Spirit, looked up to heaven and saw the glory of God, and Jesus standing at the right hand of God. "Look," he said, "I see heaven open and the Son of Man standing at the right hand of God." At this they covered their ears, and yelling at the top of their voices, they all rushed at him, dragged him out into the city, and began to stone him. That came alive to me in a way that I wish it hadn't, quite honestly. But my mom, we lost her to cancer just over 3 years ago, and she had never been sick a day in her life. I remember vividly all throughout my life at key points where I was going to be getting up to do something, or even if we were in a room, separated by a sea of people, if we made eye contact, she would just wink at me and just to say, hey, everything's going to be okay. She went into the hospital after a long battle with cancer on a Tuesday. We had to put her on a morphine drip so that we could try to control much of her pain, and as that went further down the road of that medication, she kind of drifted off further and further away, and to the point that by Wednesday morning, she just wasn't there. Just 2 days after we admitted her, the doctors came and said that she had definitely taken a turn for the worse, and as a family we decided to make her comfortable. I'm sitting on the edge of the bed with her, just kind of talking to her and rubbing her arm and just thanking her, for the job that she had done as a mom and as a grandma for the first couple of years that she got to do that, and just telling her how much I loved her. And all of a sudden, because I had not, she had not moved anything on her own in close to 36 hours at this point, and all of a sudden I saw her wink at me, and I thought, no, I didn't just see that. That certainly was maybe a muscle jerk or something like that, but I responded to it with a question. I said, "Mom, did you just wink at me?" And suddenly her eyes just totally became crystal clear. The clarity was there. She moved her head directly, over right at me, and just as clear as day, winked again. And I just started crying and laughing at the same time. Just saying, I can't believe, Mom, you're winking at me. And so I winked at her, and she looked up, and her head moved up, and she looked up, and this smile came across her face like no other smile I've ever seen. And it was almost as if a rope was attached to her chest, because she literally lifted up out of the bed. Her head fell back, her arms fell back, and she lifted up a good 4 or 5 inches, and then her body fell back into the bed. And it was maybe 3 breaths, and she was gone. And in that moment, you're just overwhelmed with grief. Yet I'm so thankful for what Stephen said in that moment, because I don't have to question what my mom saw. I know that when she looked up and she smiled, I know she was looking into the heavens, and I know that she was looking at God, and Jesus was sitting at his right hand, and she knew that by winking at me I would understand.